Guys, that was unbelievable defense. That was unbelievable on offense. Franchise record for SAQUON, 255 yards. 300 total. Now, hey, listen to me. Listen. I want to keep it at this. Everybody watched that game. And everyone's calling you and telling you how fucking good you are. We have not done shit. Put your head down and work. It's the work that's got us here. You guys have been playing your ass off, and it's the work that's got us here. All right, let's pray.
Let me talk my shit again.
What it do, what it do, what it do. This is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, Cassius Cliff. Before we get into the content, please like, share, subscribe, as well as comment. It goes a long way. Thank you in advance. If you're an Eagles fan, one of my homies that's been watching, and you have not subscribed, shame on you. Subscribe to the channel. If you know a Ravens fan, especially given that I'm from the DMV, send this clip to them, send this video to them, and make sure they subscribe as well. I appreciate all the support. Thank you in advance. Let's go in and get to this Week 13 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens at the bank. It's going to be one of them ones, bro. I mean, I think it's going to be the game of the week. I circled this game going into the season. I thought it was going to be one of those games that we would lose. But given the fact that we've been playing the way we've been playing, especially after the bye, I don't think these boys are ready for what's about to happen in the bank. And I hope they have their cashier's check ready, because obviously we're going against the number one offense in all of football, but the number one defense in all of football, and with the number 5 offense, number 1 in rushing. Let's go and look at the injury report real quick before we actually break down and look at why I feel we're gonna have a not necessarily a comfortable win, but a convincing win, and really a win that will carry a lot more weight than the teams we already beat up to this point on this 7-game win streak. Given the Week 13 injury report, as you can see, we've lost some guys over the course of the season. BVS, Ben Van Sumeren, Bryce Huff is on IR. Brandon Graham is done for the year. Slay is going to be out. Johnny Wilson's going to be out. So Isaiah Rodgers is going to have to step up. Paris Campbell just got lifted up from the practice squad. But it looks like Smitty's going to be out there. And that would be great, given the fact not only we're better when Smitty's out there. I mean, you're talking about one of the best, when it comes to complementary receivers, one of the best in the entire league in Devontae Smith. But ultimately, that's one of our best players. And he's had to step up and carry the load when A.J. Brown was not there. So I would love for him to be out there with his teammate, and really for us to be at our full, or at least close to our full strength offensively, because them boys are going to be ready on the other side of the ball. Let's go look at the defensive side of the ball to see exactly what we can actually do against these Baltimore Ravens. If you know anything about this defense, or really the defensive line, I don't think there's anybody better on that defensive line than Jalen Carter. I don't think it's even a discussion or an argument. Anybody watching this team or has watched this team, they've seen 98, and they've seen him have his impact on virtually every game. For him to have 15 times where he was double teamed on 19 pass rushes, over 70% of his rushes being double teamed, that is demon behavior. That is how you know you earn respect, and really there's a lot of fear instilled in the other people on the other side. I know a lot of people on the Rams side of things, they were expecting a big game or a good game out of Avila. One of his worst games as a pro, and it clearly had a lot to do with guys like Jalen Carter as well as Min Williams. Min Williams on the contract here clearly is a bat out of hell. Talking about a guy with 5 sacks, 6 tackle for losses, playing minimal snaps. I mean, when he comes in, all you get is effectiveness. That is not only what Jalen Carter is creating for his teammates, but really what his defense and his D-line is at right now. They're about to peak, and I'm glad they're not peaking yet, because there's so much more to get and really see from this defensive line, and I'm just excited because we have yet to see them cap out yet. Guys like Josh Sweat. I mean, Josh Sweat, a forgotten guy on this defensive line, who started out this year very slow. At this point right now, 7 sacks and 6 tackle for losses. Excuse me, I shortchanged the man. 8 tackle for losses. That's how he's playing right now, and I love the fact that we're looking at clips from the Commanders game, because we're going to get, that's a guy that was, getting out of the pocket, helping the running game big time when it comes to Jaden Daniels, and there was none of that happening. Obviously, the Steelers put out the blueprint, but along with a guy like Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith, not only does he have to step up, he's shown the capability to do that, and that's huge. losing a guy like Brandon Graham, the voice, pretty much the lifeblood when it comes to this team and his attitude, especially on the field. And then you have a young guy like Nolan Smith stepping up in pivotal moments. You're going to need him to actually step up a lot more going into the rest of the season because the leadership of BG is just not going to be on the field anymore. But I feel like Nolan Smith is ready for this opportunity, along with guys like Jalix Hunt and bringing in a guy like Charles Harris, I believe his name is. I'm going to drop a video on him a little bit sooner, a little later, actually, I should say. But obviously, the D-line is doing what they need to do, playing at a high level. But I don't think there's anybody, aside from the DBs, on this defense playing at a high level than these linebackers. I mean, I've been talking about Zach Bond for weeks now. He's a household name. I don't think I would take the credit for that. The guys are showing that on film and in these games. But Nakobe Dean, a guy that was a third-round pick, a forgotten guy on one of the best defenses in all of college football history, showing up and stepping up when we absolutely needed him. I mean, paying huge dividends. Here he is just 2 years ago when he was nowhere near the player he is today, making a one-on-one tackle and really one arm on one tackle against Derrick Henry in the hole. I think not only did it, I thought it was going to pay huge dividends that season. It didn't, obviously, because he got hurt. And, he's been having to work his way back in. But playing under Nick Fangio alongside a guy like Zach Bond has taken this play to heights we've never seen before. And I firmly believe not only is the defensive line playing at a high level, these linebackers are playing right alongside of them. And that's a huge reason why these guys are being able to fly to the ball. Zach Bond having over 100 tackles with 6 games to go. Nakobe Dean very possibly going to go over 100 tackles as well, being at 84 right now. Has a lot to do with the defensive line, but these guys going in flying in the holes, plugging them, and making plays. And Derrick Henry being a very good running back, I think the second best running back in the league. I think this is the best matchup for us, given the fact he's just not as electric as Saquon Barkley. And we already seen Nakobe Dean here in a lesser form, making a great tackle one-on-one while being blocked. I mean, this defense is just clicking at the perfect time possible. And obviously, again, I mentioned, I don't think anybody's playing at a high level on this defense, aside from the defensive back room, purely because having 2 rookies being inserted and those guys being probably your best DBs on the entire defense, it may be an indictment on the defense. And in all actuality, it is. I mean, we were talking about the worst pass defense in all of football last year. And where we are now, our feet kicked up, being relaxed and comfortable, because we are now with not only the number one defense in terms of total yards, but the number 1 pass defense in all of football. Number 3 pass defense in all of football in Philadelphia Eagles. Cooper DeJean being a slot corner, a very, if not the toughest cornerback position to play, toughest DB position to play, allowing the second fewest yards per catch by all cornerbacks with 6.8 yards per catch. I mean, what else can you say about that? That is a rookie playing like an all-pro vet and not even played 15 games yet. Obviously, we're playing with a lot of luxury right now. We have a lot of great pieces, but having to lean on guys like this and not having to throw out guys like Avonte Maddox in the slot clearly is a blessing. And I'm just glad that these guys are on our team, because it has paid huge dividends since the bye. And going against Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and doing what they did, even though these guys let up 2 touchdowns, but obviously keeping them in check for the majority of the game allowed us to have that blowout that we did in LA. Whether or not we at home or away, especially given the fact up until this point since 2021, you're talking about the team with the highest win percentage on the road in the Philadelphia Eagles under Nick Sirianni, which I think a lot of us have to, apologize to Nick Sirianni. He clearly has these guys dialed in and cooking at the right time, because obviously the defense is a huge strength of this team, but the offense does not get clearly enough credit. Obviously, we know when it comes to the main piece of the offense and where we make a lot of our bones is running the ball. We're probably at a 4-to-1 ratio. You're talking about the number 1 team in rush attempts and the number 32 team in pass attempts. It can't be any more night and day than that. But obviously, when it comes down to guys like Jalen Hurts and him not getting the respect he deserves, it cannot be understated. It cannot be overstated how disrespectful people talk about Jalen Hurts, given the fact you're talking about a guy who struggled against the blitz last year. He was ranked number 28 out of all passers with a 74.1 rating when it comes to go against the blitz with 50 or more pass attempts. But not only was he 93.1 passer rating in 2022 when he was an All-Pro, he's even higher this year, ranked number 7th at 110.1 passer rating versus the sack. Jalen Hurts has been doing everything he can to not only minimize mistakes, but be the best version of himself when it comes to being the ultimate point guard. I think he's been having to be, a scorer as well as a disher when it came to the 2022 season, especially last year. But this year, he's been, by all accounts and really much to our surprise, relegated to like a point guard role. And lo and behold, we're seeing some of the best Jalen Hurts we've seen ever, especially when it comes to being effective. Because not only has he been effective all season, or really for the majority part of the season, especially after the bye, there's no more impactful, effective receiver, especially against one-on-one coverage like A.J. Brown. I mean, you're talking about a guy that is ranked number 1 when it comes to yards per target, yards per route run, and receiver score. On 39 catches with 56 targets, 4 touchdowns and 727 yards. He's averaging damn near 20 yards per catch. How does it get better than that? I mean, it would get better than that if he actually played every game. He would have been over 1,000 at this point, because he's averaging damn near 90 yards per game. But, injuries happen. And really, in the end, winning is all that matters. I think the plot and really the main thing has been lost on a lot of people. And people love stats because I think stats actually, they help tell a story that isn't told the right way. When your team is losing, people like to look at stats. And when your team is winning, that's all people really care about. And that's really all anybody should be caring about. Because in the end, we're not looking at Pat Mahomes' numbers versus Jalen Hurts when they won that Super Bowl. Because if you did, you would clearly see that Jalen Hurts outplayed Pat Mahomes in that game, even with that fumble. But again, nobody cares about that. They care about who won, and they couldn't give a shit less about who lost. And that's where we are right now. We're about winning, and that's it, because in the end, there's just no better closer, there's no better momentum shifter in all of football like Saquon Barkley. I've been telling y'all for weeks, and I'll say it again. Derrick Henry is a very good running back. He's second best running back in all of football. There is no better running back in all of football than Saquon Barkley. And I'm finding it very difficult to even argue there's a better player than Saquon Barkley playing right now in all of football, because this guy is impactful no matter what. He hand him the ball, pass it to him, great in pass protection. I mean, and he's taking a level, he's taking an offense to where guys are just not prepared. It doesn't matter if you're gonna load the box, if you're gonna play 2 shell high. Do what you do and watch us pick the poison that you're gonna have to take it. I don't think people are prepared or really aware of how dynamic this offense is, having Saquon Barkley in it, and really how unstoppable we really can be. Having Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts is a luxury. Do not make any mistake about that. And I think firmly tomorrow, I think a lot of people are going to realize that this team is just unstoppable. The defense is playing at a high level. We're going to stifle. I firmly believe we're going to keep Derrick Henry under 100 yards. Lamar is going to do what Lamar does. Lamar is, probably going to be MVP again. But I don't think they can stop Saquon Barkley. And that pass defense is the second worst pass defense in the entire league. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are just too good to be contained with a guy like Saquon Barkley in the backfield. So I'm already predicting right now 28-21, a victory in Baltimore at the bank. We've never won there before, but we've never won it in Cincinnati, and we've never won in New Orleans. And both of those narratives have been put to bed earlier this season. So let's just keep the trend going. With that being said, this is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, Cassius Cliff. We out to the next one. Peace.